Greetings, family. There is a different way of living life, a way that is radically simple and radically free. And I want to try to describe or point at this way of living life today. Doing so can be tricky because what is being pointed at is something that is fundamentally beyond words, beyond ideas, and beyond belief systems. But it's fun to try to solve that riddle and point at it anyway. And really, it is all of the words and ideas and belief systems and the never-ending recurring loop of thoughts and our endless fixation on thought and our deeply habitual living inside of thought-based stories to a degree where we don't even realize that's what we're doing. We don't even realize we're not opening to the visceral presence of immediate life and immediate wholeness because we believe we already know what life is, and we're deeply, deeply locked into an assumption of what it is that places us as a kind of small being in a cold, challenging universe, a big world, and we've got to jump through 7,000 hoops to hopefully one day reach the prize of status, success, happiness, whatever it may be. And there is another possibility that's always available. And I talk about this possibility ongoingly. I've made a lot of art and videos and writings in relation to this possibility because I honestly deeply sense and see and experience that this is perhaps the most medicinal and healing and illuminating possibility that can be discovered in human life. And I also deeply sense that reaching a critical mass of people who have made this discovery for themselves is essential if we wish to truly heal our civilization on the deepest level. Nothing else goes all the way to the root. This discovery really goes to the root of division, which underlies all war and all violence and abuse and cruelty on our planet. Mosquito buzzing around here. Unlike some videos, I'm slowing down more today. I might allow more pauses. Sometimes I drink coffee and record videos, and I can get into an almost raving ecstasis. And someone recently reflected to me that can come across as ungrounded, or they don't feel me as deeply grounded in their body. So today I have not had any coffee, and I'm trying to root into this from a more grounded and a more human place. So one way to begin speaking about this different way of living life is to use the metaphor that I use sometimes of the classic optical illusion of the duck and the rabbit. So in any given moment of life, you know, these optical illusions, one moment you're seeing the duck, you look at it slightly different, and you're suddenly seeing a rabbit. In any given moment of life, that is available to us, a completely different perspective on our immediate experience that completely changes what we're seeing. One moment you feel like a limited, finite, small being trapped in a big, lonely world trying to accomplish something or prove something or jump through all these hoops and hopefully one day reach the prize. And the next moment, if you start to practice making this shift or engaging life in this other way, what is here is more like a pure presence, a pure undefined field of radiance that is only now, and that you are fundamentally one with. You are non-separate from this field of life energy, and you are simply being, simply existing as this field of life energy that has this inherent flavor of wholeness, of completion, of totality. There's a deep experiential sense of it being all encompassing. It encompasses you and everyone and everything that may come into your field of awareness. It encompasses the totality of reality. There's a sense of non-separation from all of life, all of reality. And this is the basis of Christ's statement: what you do to the least among you, this you also do to me. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your enemy as yourself. There is a deep recognition of a fundamental substratum of life that unifies all of us, through which we are all participating in a kind of interbeing, you could call it, as some people do, or an ocean. We are all like waves on the ocean, and waves are not in any way separate from the ocean, right? Waves simply are the ocean, expressing itself, emanating itself in the apparent temporary form of a wave. Yet at no point does the wave actually become something separate from or distinct from the ocean. The whole time it is the ocean. So, and if we want to get even more subtle, we can notice that even to try to draw lines around a given wave and say, oh, I know what this wave is, and his name is Johnny, and he has these characteristics, that is based on a highly reductive kind of averaging process or reducing down process, because if we look at a wave moment to moment, or if we look at any of our bodies, any of ourselves from moment to moment, we are literally continuously morphing and changing. No wave is the same from one moment to the next. No person is the same from one moment to the next. No body is the same from one moment to the next. Especially when you go to the granular level of detail where you're looking at like the way the light is refracting off of my shirt right now, or the precise way that, you know, the apparent colors and textures that make up this apparent apparition of a body are morphing and swirling and dancing within what we usually call the visual field. Or if you were to give me a hug, for example, and we shared a beautiful warm bear hug, and you felt how every moment of that hug, with your eyes closed, you wouldn't even be seeing me anymore. You would be experiencing me as kind of a warm, tactile field of energy that is vibratorily shifting continuously and morphing continuously. So there's essentially a way of starting to be with experience in this immediate, tactile, textural, full sensory contact type of way, where we relinquish all our prior ideas and definitions of what life is, and we allow life to reveal itself freshly to us. We allow life to reveal itself freshly to us. And this type of practice goes by different names. It's been called mindfulness, wakefulness, meditation. And yet, oftentimes, when it's placed within those categories, I feel that it's still highly valuable, but I feel like it's often not paired with the level of instruction that allows it to really cut through to deeper levels of what can be seen through this type of totally intimate engagement with the now moment. It's often the kind of mass marketed mindfulness is essentially like, yeah, become very present, be in the now, let yourself feel what you're actually sensing, let yourself, put your hands on the grass and notice what's actually here. And that's all great. That's very beneficial. But in my experience, it's incredibly potent to also pair that with a practice of, as much as possible, utterly and completely relinquishing all ideas, all preconceptions, all belief systems, all opinions about what any of this is. Let this be an utterly unknown field of pure mystery. Let this be an utterly unknown field of mystery. Let yourself return to infant mind, to beginner mind, as if you had never seen this before. As much as possible, let in that sense of freshness, vividness, bang, like big bang now. There is an explosion of vividness all around us. It might be easier to access it sometimes than others. For me, I love coming into nature. This forest that we live on the edge of, this is my cathedral. This is my church out here. My sanctuary. I love coming out here, and it's very peaceful, and it's easy to become more still and let the mind become more quiet and freshly be with something like what we would typically call a tree, but be with it not as a tree, be with it as a living sculpture, a living artwork, and notice how the immediate textural experience of it is not the same from one moment to the next. It's ever morphing, it's ever shifting. The now moment is like a hyper immersive artwork that we are fully embedded in, and as our Our bodies are another expression of that artwork. And if we can return to child mind, if we can return to infant mind, really let ourselves open freshly to this immaculate, sparkling, ever morphing, ever shifting artistry, we can be dazzled, for one, regaled. We can come back into a sense of foundational wonder at the sheer astonishing miracle, the fact that this is here at all and that it happens to look like this. And if we deepen in that investigation and we even start to set down deeply, deeply embedded concepts, ideas, and belief systems, such as this is a body, I'm Jordan, time and space really exist, there is a past, there is a future, I got a bunch of things to do later today, I'm a person in a world that's rapidly going down the shitter and I need to be worried about all that, and yada 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 yada. If we can discover I almost don't even want to call it a practice, because that can make it sound kind of heavy and laborious and like, oh, I need to engage in my very serious spiritual practice. It's more like discovering a portal. It's more like discovering a portal, a portal that can be engaged playfully at any moment of life. At any moment of life, it's like discovering an open doorway or an open secret, to use a couple phrases that have been used by Peter Brown and Tony Parsons. It's like discovering this portal in the now that is always here, always available, where essentially you just discover a skill of rooting your life, rooting your consciousness in what you can actually empirically, demonstrably discover right now, in what you can, that which you cannot deny. You cannot deny that this is here, life is here. In a way, that is the primordial fact, the one undeniable fact, in perhaps in a sense the sole fact that there is. This astonishing totality is, and no one knows what it is in a profound sense. No one can say what it is. It cannot be pinned down. That's part of the discovery that you come to as you relinquish your belief systems and you start to open to this as an incredibly bizarre field of freshness, of artistry, of bottomless infinity, bottomless textural richness in every direction. You start to really, really deeply see how all our ideas, all our belief systems, all our identities, thoughts, opinions, and words are an incredibly low fidelity medium, a narrowing mechanism that inevitably, in order to fit life into that mechanism, we have to dramatically collapse down this infinite dimensional, infinitely juicy richness all around us. We have to collapse it down into this this very two-dimensional construct. In a way, it's like taking an infinite super ocean and trying to fit it inside of a film canister. The medium is simply very low fidelity, and so when you see that very deeply, you discover the sense in which no one knows what this is, and no one will ever know what this is at the level of ideas and thoughts and beliefs, because that medium of encapsulation functions through essentially a process of creating these finite, simplified structures that attempt to pin down reality and categorize reality. But whatever this is, it can't be pinned down. It doesn't fit in those boxes. It's too slippery, it's too all-encompassing, it's too fluid, it's too dynamic, it's too ever-morphing, it's too intimate, it's too close, it's too simple while also being simultaneously infinitely rich, infinitely detailed. It just doesn't fit. You could spend a million years writing a million treatises about 1 nanosecond of this experience, and you would not be able to say what that was. You could spend a million years writing a million treatises describing the taste of chocolate, and you would not be able to capture or convey that to someone who had never tasted chocolate before. You know, the menu is not the meal, the map is not the territory. And so this portal that I'm describing, this possibility that's always there, is an ever fresh, ever present possibility of learning to completely relinquish maps for at least a period of time. It's not like you won't later have access to the maps. The maps can remain accessible and can be called upon when they're useful, when they're practical. But you learn this capacity of completely discarding the maps, letting yourself come into this whole other experience of intimacy, of freshness, of closeness, closer than your bones. Like John Aston has said, we become like hearts without skin. The sense of being cut off from the world, which is created through ideas, an idea of I'm over here and I'm a separate entity and the world is over there. That sense of separation can drop and dissolve, and we can feel ourselves as this field of whatever this is. And the palpable quality of that, there's an inherent quality of that feels like rest, that feels like coming home, that in a way that is completely beyond words, it has this revelatory, this self-revealing quality that just lets you know, yes, do more of this. And it really is clearly not just like a form of pacification or stupefaction or self-hypnosis or trance. It's not like that. It becomes available. This portal becomes accessible and available no matter what experience you happen to be having. You know, even if you're stuck in traffic and you're feeling a sense of irritability, the portal is still fully available, because the portal is really just your immediate experience as it is, your immediate perception as it is, the now moment, this here now, exactly as it is, and simply allowed to be as it is without boxing it into all of these categories. So it's essentially just learning to be present with and live with and as the actual phenomenological fact of what life really is for you right now. We spend so much time fixated on a past or a future, and neither of those, if you look at your experience, neither of those are anywhere to be found. You've only ever experienced right now. It's always now. It's always now, and it looks however it looks. And however it happens to look, that's it. You know, sometimes it looks gritty and grimy and sludgy and swampy, and it feels yucky and difficult, for sure. for sure. And that's it too. That's it too. And if you look closely, you've never experienced the same emotion twice. You've never had the same experience twice. So this can really open something up, even when we are in those swampy or slimy or difficult or grief-stricken waters. We can still allow ourselves to be with the immediate freshness of what that experience is. And when we open to the freshness of it, when we open to the intimacy of, wow, I've never experienced this type of wave that's crashing on the shore before, and we drop the labels about it, we drop the story, and we just freshly experience what's really there, you know, which might include thoughts and stories, but at least in the early stages, it's very valuable to learn how to drop the thoughts and stories and just come into the immediate textural felt presence of whatever is there, realizing you've never felt that before, you've never experienced that before, and just letting yourself be. It goes beyond just holding space for it or witnessing it. You go into it. You almost zoom in and you let yourself become this vibratory field of sensation, and whatever sensations are arising, you let yourself be with this incredible intimacy, this visceral, percolating quality. You let yourself be whatever those textures happen to be. You feel them, you become them with this almost HD clarity, this quality of deep presence, and that changes everything. It's a complete game changer. Every experience is very different when you allow yourself to go into it with that quality of intimacy, freshness, curiosity, relinquishing all stories about it, just letting it be this mysterious happening that you are thankful to be able to live as and kind of vibrate as for that temporary period of time, noticing that it's literally continuously shifting and passing away. Whatever it feels like in this moment, that's already gone, and now it feels like something else. So we're discovering how to stay with the razor's edge of nowness in a way that is fresh, in a way that is without preconception, without belief systems, and we're just opening to that freshness, discovering the intrinsic quality of wholeness, rest, homecoming, peace, unconditional allowing, unconditional love. There is an intrinsic spaciousness to whatever this is that has space for everything and naturally embraces and allows everything. And we're able to become internally silent enough to hear that, to discover that, to listen to that, to find that spaciousness when we get better and better at relinquishing all the thought-based stories, essentially just discovering that everything you've ever thought is inaccurate, is a highly inaccurate and highly reductive partialization. So just setting all of that down, realizing the medium of thought is far too low fidelity to encapsulate what is here, and instead opening to this freshness as a lived presence, as a living presence. And then we can begin to receive this deeply felt intonation, this harmonic reverberation of, yes, I'm feeling it now, I'm receiving it now. I hardly even feel like I'm here anymore right now. I'm melting into this. I'm noticing that I've always been melted into this. I'm noticing that I am whole. I am one with this. I'm noticing that There's no question of being enough or not enough or needing to prove something. There's an intrinsic quality of enoughness and overflow. It is our birthright to feel whole and to know that there's nothing we need to do or prove in order to be enough. You know, if you were holding yourself as a newborn baby in your arms, you'd have no thought of telling that baby, yeah, well, you know, you need to build your resume before we're really going to see you as enough out here. No, it would just be very clear that the baby is primordially innocent and intrinsically enough and whole, and you would just love the baby. And so you're rediscovering, in a way, how to see yourself in that way now and at all times, and to not only see yourself that way, but to feel and experience yourself that way. Experience yourself as this primordially innocent, mysterious emanation of primordially innocent vastness, wholeness. That is the type of experiential quality that can open up through this investigation. And the nice thing is you can just let it remain deeply experiential. You don't ever have to turn it into a belief system. You don't have to try to turn it into an elaborate metaphysics. You don't have to call it God or call it any particular name. You can just let it be an experiential revelation that guides you. You know, check it out and see for yourself, and see if this does not feel like a homecoming, a deep coming home that relaxes every part of your being, that communicates to every cell, yes, you are enfolded. You are utterly and fully one with this. You are utterly and fully held by and as this. And that self-verifying sense of wholeness, of oneness, of rest, of peace, of love, I deeply intuit that anyone who experiences that for themselves is going to viscerally understand, yes, this is something immensely important. This is one of the greatest discoveries of my life. This is an untold treasure that's been hiding in plain sight. We need to help more people experience this. And you don't even have to turn it into any type of dogma or belief system in order for that to happen. It can just be experiential. So, anywho, it's starting to rain a little bit out here, so, and the rain feels really nice, fresh. So it feels like a good place to wrap this particular video. I deeply hope there was something valuable for you here, and I hope you'll remember that in any moment, there's always this portal, always this availability to go from seeing the duck to suddenly seeing the rabbit, suddenly just being undefined vastness and letting yourself deeply feel that in every cell as primordial wholeness, primordial peace. That is available, and I wish that for you. I wish that for you, my friend, and for all beings. I wish for all beings to remember primordial peace. I wish for us to end all wars and open to more beautiful possibilities of what life can be for our wonderful selves, our families, for all beings, human and non-human, for our children, our grandchildren. So offering that up, that's the prayer for today. Thank you, divinity. Thank you, vastness. May this film be a gift unto the whole, for the highest good of all. For the highest good of all. Amen. Aho, namaste, hallelujah. Every day is Thanksgiving, my friend. Give thanks. Here we are. Supreme artistry. Peace and love to you. Take care.